And this is a big question. How many mistakes, big or small, do you think you make a day, a week, or even a month? It could be hundreds when you're thinking about the small ones like turning down the wrong street or dialing the wrong number. But it's the big ones that you have to worry about. You know the ones, like if you call your wife a name because you were mad, or how you handle finding a few marijuana seeds in your kid's pocket. Now, you know it's wrong at the time, but what you don't know is how wrong your response can be as time goes by. So if you're making these kind of big mistakes that have effects that you aren't even aware of, wouldn't you want to know it? Well, today I'm talking about 3 of the biggest mistakes you don't know you're making. And when I say you don't know, I mean that you may not be aware of the negative results these mistakes can have way down the road. Now, Orlando and Sarah are a good example of what is happening in many households today. They fight and they argue. No big deal. But there's a right way and a wrong way to do it, and they never resolve anything. Which is not uncommon. 69% of disputes among married couples never get resolved. Take a look at this first before I talk about the big mistake they're making.
I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of fighting every day.
Obviously, you want to be right.
No, I don't want to be right. I want to be
right.
hurt. I feel like I can't talk to him because if I do, he might lose his temper.
I'm not the only one in this house that has anger problems. She does too. She punches walls, she breaks doors. I patched this, but it still has holes like this big.
He broke a laptop computer. He's actually gotten in my face. It's like where he's like growling. His face is like bright red.
My heart's pounding. I feel like my eyes get red.
He wants to hit me and he wants to hurt me. If I were to do one little thing, it could throw him over the edge.
People know that I can control myself because I don't do it, but I do want to hit her.
He has a blank look in his eyes. It's a rage. He doesn't know what he's doing.
I look so like someone else.
He says I'm a bitch, that I don't take care of myself, I look messy, that I'm a good mom, but I'm not a good wife, that I'm psycho.
It takes a while for me to cool down. I hold grudges.
It scares me. I don't know if you're gonna hurt me. And you say you won't, and you say that you would never do it, but you've come close.
Well, a recent fight between Orlando and Sarah got physical and had their daughter shrieking and shaking in tears.
I was telling him, I'm tired, I'm sick,
Sarah,
sorry the dishes aren't done.
If you act like that, there would.
And that's the only tone you got
reason.
out of me. He didn't like that I was raising my voice at him. He came over from the kitchen and he grabbed my arms.
And that's when she started slapping in my face.
And I just remember kicking and hitting and scratching and doing anything to try and get him off of me.
I didn't realize that my kid was right on that corner.
And at that point, I just got my kids and I just walked out of the house.
Okay, today we're talking about big mistakes that you don't even know you're making. Now, we're getting ready to talk to Sarah and Orlando here, but let me tell you, this is not just about them. This is so widespread. I know that because people fight. I mean, they do. I don't know any couple that don't have disagreements, but there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. Mistake number 1 that you may be making and you don't even know it is destroying your marital bond. Now, you may think you're just arguing. You guys argue, right?
That's
you
correct.
get upset? Do you have an anger problem?
I sure do.
Tell me about it.
Most of the times when we're in an argument, I think I lose control and I feel powerless. I don't feel that I can get across a point that what I'm trying to say.
Is your goal that she understands you, or is your goal that she agree with you and comply with you? Is that your definition of what you want to see happen?
Yeah, I do want to get my point.
Okay, what's your goal when you guys get in these arguments?
My goal is to be heard, for him to understand how I feel and to give the best to our children.
Right. Now, you know it's wrong to yell and scream, right?
Absolutely.
You know that. You know it's wrong to call her names.
Yes.
You know it's wrong to get physical and go shoving and stomping around the house.
Yeah.
So what do you suppose it is that you don't know?
I don't know how to communicate effectively. I don't know how to get him to understand.
What's the mistake that I think you're making that you don't even realize?
I don't know.
You don't know? You don't have any idea?
I don't know what I'm
I do believe we're not assertive enough.
Oh, that's not it.
No.
No. Let me tell you the mistake you're making that you don't even know you're making. There are people that do nothing but research what you guys are doing right now. And I'll put links up on the website. And you know what people have figured out that research this? There are certain things that you can do in the way you fight that predict whether or not you're going to have a divorce with over 90% accuracy. Well, let me tell you, I wrote down a lot of the categories that these researchers look at across time. You two are in violation of every single one of them. Do you call her names?
Yes, I do.
You belittle her?
I don't mean to, but it happens.
You curse at her?
Yes, I do.
You attack her character?
Emotionally, yes.
90%. You guys are headed for a train wreck divorce. And if you're not going to change what you're doing, if you're not going to change how you're fighting, why you're fighting, how you're fighting, and even what you're fighting about, you might as well shut this down.
But we're going to make it work somehow. That's why we're here.
Really?
We have to.
What are you going to change?
Anything that I need to.
Well, do you criticize him in a contemptuous way?
I guess.
Do you tell him he's useless? What do you mean you guess?
I get
Have you
out
been
of
there for 6
frustration
years?
whenever he's ignoring me, but I say it out of frustration.
I don't want your justification. I want you to acknowledge the behavior.
Yeah.
You say, yes, I do it when I'm frustrated. I don't care why you do it right now. I just care what you do. Do you lash back at him when he attacks you?
Yeah.
And you do the same thing.
Unfortunately.
And neither of you let the other retreat with dignity, do you?
Yeah.
At some point, anybody with any backbone whatsoever is going to say, I've had enough of that. I've had enough of that. Do you think this is an intelligent woman?
Absolutely. She's the most wonderful woman.
Do you think she's a devoted mother?
Absolutely. I have no doubt about that.
Do you think that she's beautiful and attractive and vibrant as a woman?
Yes, I do.
Then what the hell makes you think she's going to put up with you telling her she's a stupid bitch?
I'm telling you.
Because if you don't think there isn't somebody in this world that will scoop her up and treat her with dignity and respect, I got news for you. They're lined up. What you're going to have done is fractured your family and alienated your wife. And it's the same thing with you. I mean, you belittle him at some point, he's going to say, you know, I'd rather be healthy alone than sick with her. I mean, you call him useless. He says you're stubborn. I mean, you know how to push the buttons, right? When you get mad, you push them.
Yeah. He pushes mine too. We do it to each other.
The main problem that we have as a couple is my anger.
He has all the tools. He's read about it. He's gone to anger management. But is it really possible to change?
Well, today we're revealing the top 3 biggest mistakes that you don't know you're making. Now, what I mean by that is that you are creating permanent damage, lasting damage, and right now we're talking about it with regard to your relationship. Would you do the things you're doing if you knew that by choosing that, you choose divorce with 90% certainty?
No.
You have such a chip on your shoulder that you come into this already with built-up resentment about what she did the last time, right?
Yes.
And you can predict what he's going to do. You've seen it. You know when it's starting.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've always talked about something I call the first 4 minutes. If you've been apart and you come together, you've been off for the day or something, you come together, what happens in the first 4 minutes is going to determine how the rest of that evening goes.
Yep.
If you open the door yelling, what's this bill? Why'd you do this? Well, what's wrong with you? How come this isn't done? Blah, 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 blah. That's how it's going to turn out with 96% accuracy. They end the way they begin. On the other hand, if you say, you know what, Dr. Phil's right. If we've got some problems to discuss, let's set them aside. But in the first 4 minutes, how was your day? You know, how are things going for you? Can I help you in some way? Let me tell you about this, tell you about that. That too predicts exactly the way it's going to turn out because you come together in that way. But y'all don't do that. You begin with a really harsh startup. You've got to deal with these things privately. Keep them away from your children. You change who those children are. When they observe this aggressiveness, they become aggressive in their life. They have a distorted view of relationships when they see this stuff. So not only are you sealing the fate of your marriage, you are programming your children to repeat your behavior when they grow up. You hadn't thought about that.
I don't want them.
Do you want them to be afraid of you?
No,
Do you want them to be afraid of life?
I can't.
So what do you want?
And we're willing to do anything for these children, for us, and as a person, as Sarah, just as a person and me as individual, we need to work in all those.
Do you love her?
Absolutely, I do.
Will you miss her when she's gone?
I always do.
Because what I've told you here is she is leaving. She doesn't know it yet. But if this continues, she's leaving.
I know that. Right now is the calm before the storm, and we know that.
Look, this situation needs a hero. You have the ability to say, I'm going to change the goal that I have when we have a disagreement or something that we don't see eye to eye on. My goal is going to be that I want to be understood. I want to tell you how I feel, and then I'm going to trust in you that you love me enough that you're going to try to find a way where we can both get what we want. You don't own her. You don't control her. You can't tell her how to feel. So what you've got to take a step of trust. You've got to say, this situation needs a hero and I'm going to be it. You have to rise above this here. And you have to do the same thing. You got to say, you know what? We're just not going to do it. It's not going to happen. We can have disagreements, but we're going to take them private. We're going to keep them private. We're going to focus on the issue. We're not going to assassinate one another's character. There are so many things.
We have been separated 3 times. It's like every 2 years we have this cycle where we're good for a little while, then we end up separated for, a couple of months. And then we start working harder, and he tries to put the stubbornness behind him, but then it always comes back to the same thing.
Things get better for a couple of months, and then things go up to the same loophole again, and here we go again, and we're just going in circles.
We can't communicate. We don't know how.
Well, today we're talking about the top 3 biggest mistakes people don't know they're making. Now, get what I said, don't know they're making. Now, Orlando and Sarah don't fight fair. In fact, they've been fighting in such a way that I have said research tells us that this is doomed. It's just destined to wind up in divorce. If you're doing these things at home, then you need to understand that you are programming yourself for divorce. If you're starting these things harshly on attack, if you show disgust and character assassination and name calling, you forget about the issue and attack the person, you are sealing your fate. I mean, that's a terrible place to go. You don't want to do that. If you use sarcasm and mockery and name calling, all of those things do a damage that has a long-term effect. There's nothing wrong with arguing. People that argue live longer. But there are rules that you need to follow if you're going to do this properly. And the first thing I've said is you've got to take it private and you got to keep it private. Okay? So the kids are out of this, right? Can we make that deal today?
Oh, yes.
The kids are out of this.
The
If you want to
last
talk
time you
about
said it
something,
was last.
you just need to decide you're going to go take a walk down the street and let the neighbors hear it, but not the kids. You got to keep it relevant. And it's so important that you stay on point here. You've got to decide, all right, what is it we're talking about here? You're talking about, I don't like the way she cleans house, or I don't like the way he helps around the house, or I don't like whatever it is. Decide what you're going to talk about and stay on point. You've got to avoid that character assassination of saying you're useless, you're stupid, you're stubborn, you're blah, 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 blah. And you've got to allow your partner to retreat with dignity. There's a point at which you've got to decide, my goal here is not to win. My goal here is to advance our understanding here. Because if you win, then that means she, what?
She loses, yeah.
She loses. Now, do you like losing? At
No.
anything?
Of course not.
So why would you think your spouse would? It doesn't have to be win-lose. It can be, look, I want you to understand how I feel about this, what this says to me. And maybe it's my culture, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, whatever. But this is how I feel about this. I want you to know that. And now that you know that, I'm going to trust that we're going to make changes going forward. So let's go do something else.
Yeah, well, I'm I'm from a different country, and she's from here,
And where are you from?
Colombia. And there's certain stereotypes with how women does their job in their house and how men does different things in the house. So to overcome the stereotype of the tradition that I have is not easy. Even though I know that I married an American girl.
Yeah, she's very American.
Tell me about it.
And you're in America. And it doesn't mean that you abandon or you disrupt your culture, but you also have to recognize that she has a culture as well. I've had the pleasure of knowing a lot of Colombians, and I don't think you would find any professionals down there that would endorse name calling and getting aggressive and physical. In fact, there is a tremendous commitment to family respect and dignity and unity in Colombia, true?
Absolutely.
It's a very family-based society. It's not at all what you're doing here. It may be the contrast that bring out the frustration. But you know, sit down and have a discussion about those things inspires understanding. But yelling and screaming because she doesn't behave consistent with an expectation you have is A, not a Colombian value, and B, won't work. Now, I want to help you guys with this, and what I want to do is I want to get a professional involved with y'all to sit down with you and make a list of things that you think you disagree about and help you problem solve. You're getting overwhelmed. I really want to get you some help with that. I want to give you a wake-up call here. I've never been under the misapprehension that we do 8-minute cures on this show, okay? Now let me get you some help. We're going to work through this. You going to keep us posted?
Yes.
Now, doing this show for the last 8 years, I've seen so many couples struggle with how to discipline their children. And there is a right and a wrong way to do it. It's really not as hard as you might think if you can get on the same page. Now, Nedra and Nikio have 2 sets of twins under 4. 2 sets of twins under 4. So I have no problem understanding why they came here. They wanted a break. I can totally understand it. Now, Nikio says that Nedra undermines his authority, while Nedra thinks that his punishments are just too harsh.
Listen to me. Don't raise your hands at me.
I feel like I would have to spank him all day long.
I have 2 sets of twins. My husband and I can never agree on disciplining our older son. Come here. Go. Stand in the corner. Keep it up. We have like differences in opinion.
She mainly yells at him a lot,
Hello, I am talking to you.
and me, I'm more of like physical with him.
If I tell him to go stand in the corner, I need him to stand there at attention for at least 10 minutes. I don't want him to be moving around, fidgeting like he's doing right now.
Putting him there is because I don't want to hit him.
Why are you wet? Did you pee on yourself? You did, didn't you? What did I tell you about peeing on yourself? Huh? What did I say? Do not pee on yourself. I was raised in a home where you do something, you get disciplined. And it's not just like with a whip, it can be with an extension cord, radio cord. And I don't want to repeat the same cycle with my children.
Whenever I discipline my son, my wife will come and give him a hug and, oh, it's okay. And then look at me and say, oh, why are you being so mean to him,
Both of us tend to undermine each other when it comes to disciplining them.
What we're doing is not working.
Okay, now you've had trouble watching that.
I do,
Tell me why.
because I love them so much, and I don't like to hit them all the time. So it bothered me when I saw myself spanking her.
Do you think maybe you shouldn't do that?
Well,
Or are you one of those that says, spare the rod, spoil the child?
I am sometimes, but I think what the problem is I know what it's like to do something and get spanked, so that's all I really know, and I think that I'm passing it on to my kids.
How about you? You think that it's best to spank them when they do wrong?
I know it's not best. That's why I'm here, because I know that's what I've been doing.
Well, I mean, no, maybe it is. Let me tell you, there's a school of thought out there that says, spare the rod, spoil the child. I mean, maybe it's the right thing to do.
That's the way I was brought up.
Me too.
That's what my mom believed, so that's what I give to my kids.
Yeah, so it's just a legacy.
Yes.
It's what you got, and how were you spanked?
You know, with belts, sometimes extension cords, switches.
Do you think that was wrong?
Yeah, I did.
But yet you're modeling the behavior, right?
Yes, I am.
Let me ask y'all something. Are y'all under the impression that your children are hard of hearing?
They act like it at times.
Are you under the impression that if you say things louder, that their comprehension and retention is enhanced in some way?
When I raise my voice, I just want them to know I mean what I'm saying at the moment.
I was wondering, because y'all were kind of one-on-one, but you were just really yelling, and that kind of creates chaos.
I don't know. I think because I'm from a foreign country, I have a tendency to scream really loudly.
Where are you from?
St. Vincent.
St. Vincent, do they scream a lot down there? I've got a picture of your little ones right now. They're in the green room. Oh, they're just as cute as they can be. I notice your son there has a mohawk going. There's nothing wrong with that. I've got a reverse mohawk, and it works for me. Look, here's the thing. Let me just be real clear with y'all about what I'm saying about mistakes that you don't know you're making. You might know that, oh, I shouldn't have yelled right then, right? When you yell at kids and you spank them and you have aggressive behavior with them, do you know that as many as 60% of those kids are going to grow up to be aggressive in their relationships with other people? Not just as parents, in their relationships with other people. If they get hit at home, they just go out and hit other people. Now, and the research is broad on that. It's somewhere between 30 and 60%, but I mean, you're kind of training them to do that. There's also some pretty impressive research that might shock you and people at home, that kids that have been spanked as a group have an IQ 5 points lower at the age of 5 than kids that don't get spanked.
I didn't know that.
That could be why my son, his speech is kind of delayed.
It's interesting though, isn't it?
Yes.
And by the way, is what you're doing working?
No, it doesn't work at all.
It seems like he's getting more angry and more rebellious, like every day. It doesn't seem to get better, it's getting worse. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
It doesn't work. So like if you were trying to push a rock up a hill with a noodle and it didn't work, but you say, well, I don't know what else to do. So you'd just still be out there trying to push up a rock up a hill with a noodle?
No, I wouldn't do that.
I mean, you'd figure something else, right? You want me to
Yes.
give you an alternative?
That's what we need.
Listen to me, I'm talking to you. It's gonna be a but next time. Do you feel bad that mommy spanked you?
Yeah.
You did?
You speak you.
Yeah, I spanked you. Get up.
Okay, today we're revealing the top 3 biggest mistakes you don't know you're making. I'm not talking about the ones you know, I'm talking about the ones you don't know you're making. It's human to make mistakes, I mean, clearly. But what happens when these mistakes have lasting effects on your family and you don't know you're making them? Now, being on the same page when it comes to disciplining your children is so very important. You've got to be on the same page. Now, Nikio says that his wife Nedra is making him look like the bad guy when it comes to disciplining their 2, count them, 2 sets of twins. That's a busy time, no question about it. The number 2 mistake is sabotaging your child's future. The chaos that you're creating can lower their IQ, it can lower their self-esteem, it can cause them to repeat these things just like you guys are doing. At somewhere you have to break the legacy, right?
Right.
You guys know that what you're doing isn't working. So in the moment. So you know that's a mistake, right? Because you could say, I'm down there yelling at her and she's just crying. And when you're crying, you're not learning, right? And the louder you yell, the louder she cries, and it just more rigid she gets, right? How old are the youngest set of twins?
1.5.
Okay, 1.5, and you know we've asked you questions, and you're actually disciplining the 1.5-year-olds, right? If they're doing something you don't want them to do, and you don't put a 1.5-year-old in timeout or spank them, you just redirect them away from that to something you do want them to do. You catch them doing things right, and you just scoop them up and love them and hug them and do all the things that communicates to them like, yeah, that was a wonderful thing that I just did. As they get older, as children get older, then they understand currency. There are things that they like to do. They might like to play with a certain toy, and at that point you may say, you play nice here with your brother or sister here, and for 30 minutes quietly, and then we're going to get all the dolls out, and you can put a timer up and show them. So they begin to say, I earned this doll, and I'm proud of that. Now, and let me be very clear about rewarding these children with a lot of attaboys, a lot of pats on the back. You never, ever let a child believe that your love and approval is conditional on their behavior. That's not what I'm saying. You got to love them when they're lovable, love them when they're not lovable. They got to know that no matter what happens, you love them. But you don't have to love their behavior all the time, and that's a separate thing. You got to turn that volume way, way down. I'm not one for spanking. I don't think it's a good discipline tool. I don't think it's a good learning tool. It's not a good environment for learning, and it isn't working because you just get tougher and they just get tougher, and then they get rebellious because there's kind of a conflict in there. It's like, y'all are supposed to love me, but you're inflicting pain on me.
Yeah.
So I think what you guys have to do is negotiate between you what the consequences are going to be, what the redirection strategies are going to be, and then you've got to turn down the chaos. These children need to live in a joyous environment, a peaceful environment. And you say, that's easy for you, Dr. Phil. You don't have 2 sets of twins under 4. Y'all are probably wondering why I'm not throwing you under the bus here and saying that you're bad parents because you got chaos. I'm not saying that because you're not bad parents. We asked y'all a million questions leading up to this show, didn't we? We interviewed, asked you millions of questions. Let me tell you something about these folks. These are nice, loving, caring parents. I've written a book called Family First, and it came out a long time ago, but I'm going to give you a copy of that. I'm going to give it to you in a book form. I'm going to give it to you on CD so you can listen to it in your car. And I'm going to mark some pages that I want you to read first. And it is very specific parenting behavior strategies. And for you at home, I'm going to put a lot of that on the website today, so it will be there. And if you need further help with that, then I'm going to get it for you. But what we need to do is calm down, because what you're doing is creating children that are going to grow up angry, and they're going to start rebelling really, really soon.
And that's what I don't want.
No, you really don't. We've been talking about the top 3 biggest mistakes that you all could be making without even knowing it. And I hate that if I'm making a mistake and I don't know it. I don't know what the impact is. So that's what we're trying to talk about today. And if you're doing it, you could be jeopardizing things way down the road. Now, anyone who's been following the news for the past year knows that a lot of smart people made some pretty big mistakes when it comes to handling finances. Our government did it, the companies did it, and some of us did it. My next guest, Liz, is no exception. She is guilty of number 3, destroying your financial future.
Dr. Phil, I have a lot of decisions to make. My condo, I bought on a whim. So obviously I knew nothing about common fees, taxes. Do I foreclose on my condo that I can't afford to pay since I lost my job? My student loans kick in June. If I can't pay the bills that I have now, I cannot afford an additional $600 a month. Is my reason for going to grad school just to defer my student loans? This is the entrance to my office. My mom put the sign up here, finest consignments. I have a lot of gorgeous designer clothes that I have here that I list on eBay. When you're selling stuff to make your own living, it's scary. Am I fooling myself and thinking that because I've got this time on my hands that I can even start my own business? School is now tied into the condo, is now tied into the job, is now tied into starting my own business, is now tied into life, and I'm like sitting there like a nervous wreck, like, what do I do? That's the insanity of my life. Thank you.
Well, that was Liz, and I brought in reinforcements for you. Okay, sitting right next to you here is Marilyn Logan, known as the Money Lady. And she's joining us today, and she really wants Liz to think through her options here.
You know what, I want to congratulate her for trying to be a homeowner. That's absolutely wonderful. So she got into the game of being responsible. That's awesome. However, you did borrow that money from your parent, right?
Correct.
Your mom.
For the down payment.
That's not the good part of the game.
Correct.
Because to contribute to be a homeowner, you need to put your own money up. You
Correct.
need to save your own money. So that was kind of like a money mistake. So getting in the game of being a homeowner was very responsible. And actually, her monthly payments, it was enough you could make that money. Even if you're working in McDonald's or Taco Bell, you could have done that. I want you to understand you're not by yourself.
Right.
We all have made money mistakes. The mistake was when you went and got an equity loan. An equity loan, pulling money out of your house, is something that someone does when they have their home for at least 20 or 25 years. You'd only had this property for about 2 years. So there was no equity really to pull out. So you pull money out of the home, and that was...
At the time that I did it, it was to consolidate credit card debts that were at a higher APR. So
okay, let's talk about that for a second, because I want people at home to understand your thought process.
Right.
There is a logic to your thought process. You say, I can get this loan and it's a lesser interest rate than this, so I can take a lower interest rate loan to pay off a higher interest rate loan, and I'm therefore making money. I'm creating cash flow by reducing interest income. But the huge problems with that are you wind upside down in a really big loan. You owe more than this asset is worth.
Right.
And in many states, when you take out an equity loan, your home is no longer protected. It can now be taken away from you. If you default on a small loan, they can take your house, sell it right out from under you, and you owe the bank the difference.
Okay.
True?
Absolutely.
So now that I'm in this situation, do I look at foreclosure as a viable option? Do I keep working with the bank that I knew I was losing my job earlier this year, and I contacted the bank right away, as everyone says that I should, and I'm not getting any assistance from them. I've offered, I thought I came up with what seemed to be mutually beneficial, options, that I would do a loan deferment, like my student loans are deferred while I'm in school. I thought that was a good option. Do interest-only payments while I'm on unemployment, so then they're still getting their money and I'm showing a good faith effort, and they've said no to everything. So
well, you're doing the right thing to be opening the dialogue. There's no question about
Right.
that. But Marilyn, go ahead.
I want you to first admit that what you did right, and then I want you to look at all the financial mistakes that you've done.
Okay.
And that, for the most part, is that you're borrowing too much money. See, no one put a gun to your head to say, go get that home equity loan.
But that's already done.
I know. And no one put a gun to your head to say, go and get a signature loan. So what I want you to do now is start all over again.
Okay.
And do it the right way.
But wait a minute. What you're saying is that's already done.
already
Let's not
done.
beat a dead horse here. What
Right.
do I do now?
Right.
But if you go into the next phase with the same mindset you had in the last phase, you're going to make more. You don't
Oh, of
borrow your way out of
course.
trouble.
Of course.
And you're thinking about going back to graduate school. You're fleeing to graduate school because it can affect cash flow, right?
One of the reasons I'm considering it at this stage.
But you can't afford to not be working right now. I mean,
Right.
you've got to have a job. You can't afford to be going to graduate school because you got a debt load.
Oh, I'll do school and work at the same time.
Well, then
It's
do
something
two
I've always
jobs.
done.
Then do two jobs. If you can
Okay.
do one job in one school, then do two jobs because you've got a
Sounds
debt
good.
load. I mean, that's the reality of where you are.
Right.
But we've got to fight our way out of this, right?
I want you to start over and do it the right way. And it's okay to start over. There's
Okay.
nothing wrong with taking a baby step backwards
Right.
to take giant steps forward.
Sure.
So what I want you to do is to call the lender and let them know that, A, I do not have a job. So you need to sell your condo at a short sale, which means, for example, if you owe $100,000, you're asking the lender to allow you to sell your condo, for example,
They've said
for
no
about
to that.
$85,000.
Right.
All righty? And the reason why that first lender, you have 3 loans, I want you to understand the reason why they're not the bad guy. The reason why they're saying no to it is because you owe that first lender, the main lender, a low amount of money. You only owe them a little over $100,000. And you had the equity in your house, but you took it out. And so their attitude is that you've already spent your money. So for them, why should they? Because they know that they can sell that condo at a foreclosure and at least get their 104. Now those other 2 lenders are out there holding the bag.
It's all the same lender.
All loans,
that's
all
good.
3 loans are the
That's
same
good.
lender.
Yes.
That's even worse than because now
No. I'm saying it's good. You got one
It's a
person to
small
convince.
local bank. I
But you
thought I'd
got one
be-
person to convince. You don't have to get 3 people
Right.
in line.
You surely do.
Right.
So you got one. You need to let them know that you need to have your property because they got 1 or 2 choices. They can take the property back and sell it at auction and get less, and have it abandoned. They don't want that property abandoned right now. And if I were you, what I would do, I would take pictures of everything in there. And I would sell my condo totally furnished.
It's been on the market for 6 months. I've gotten no offers. There's 9.
Has it been on the market as furnished? Because you have items in there right now. I'm telling you, this will really work. Take pictures of it, and then I want you to distribute it to everyone who's actually living there right now. Because someone who's living there might have a cousin, a sister, or a brother. You need to be very active
There's 9
in
units
selling.
in my building that are for sale too, and mine's at an average price.
But here's what you're saying. And let me be real clear here, because you want to be argumentative about this, which is fine. I mean, say whatever you want. You're the one that bought it.
Right.
You're the one that got the second loan. You're the one that got the third loan. You're the one that created this. We're trying to help you. And you can get pissed off about it if you want to, that you've gone at this from a standpoint where you got some no's. That doesn't mean that you quit asking.
Right.
It means you keep fighting back. And the point is, you may have to exit this in some way that now you may owe $120,000. When it's all said and done, you may owe $30,000 and have nothing to show for it, but you've reduced your indebtedness by $90,000. I mean, you can help yourself here, but you're going to have to be willing to go into a liquidation survival mode.
Right.
And if they tell you no, and if that's right, they just say no, 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 they do want you to abandon it, they do want to foreclose it, then that may be the reality of where you are, because you can't service it. So what she's telling you is you ask, ask, ask. When they say no, you ask again. And if they finally say, get out of that house and give me the keys, then it's not your option. Then you do walk away from it. But right now, you still have some fight left in you.
Oh, yeah. I was just on the phone with the vice president of the bank on the way here.
And you can give her some talking points to say to that person and let them know the up and down sides of all this.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, this case hits a lot deeper than it looks on the surface. What we just watched wasn't just arguments or parenting struggles, it was a pattern. With Orlando and Sarah, the biggest turning point was realizing they're not just fighting. They're slowly destroying their relationship without even noticing it. The name-calling, the anger, the physical moments. That's not normal conflict, that's damage stacking up over time. And then with the parenting situation, that part was honestly hard to watch. You can see both parents care, but their actions are creating fear instead of understanding. That moment where the child admits being scared after getting spanked, that's the kind of thing that sticks with a kid for life. What really stood out to me is how all 3 situations had one thing in common. People thought they were doing what made sense in the moment, but long-term, it's hurting everything: marriage, kids, and even financial stability. Imagine being in that house as a child, or being in a relationship where every argument feels like a war. At what point do you stop and say, this isn't working? And that's the real question. How many people are living like this right now without realizing the damage? If you found this case as shocking as I did, make sure to hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more real courtroom breakdowns.